Alright, Shalom. First off, give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bashim Yashai, Bashim Makarkadash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders of GMS. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are done in truth and sincerity, in the women and the children who follow. So as you can see, with this lesson, we wanted to go into that spirit of zeal that our elder, our ancestor Mattathias had. And this is kind of a long read, but y'all bear with me, and we're gonna get through this because I believe this is the spirit that we're gonna need to be in, definitely in these times. Okay, so this is First Maccabees chapter 2. I'm gonna start at verse 1. It says, "In those days arose Mattathias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest of the son of Joreb, from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modin. And he had 5 sons: Johanan, called Caddis, Simon, called Dassi, Judas, called Maccabeus, Eleazar, called Everon, and Jonathan, whose surname was Alphas. And when we saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem, he said, Woe is me! Wherefore I was born to see this misery of my people and of the holy city, and to dwell there. And it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of the strangers." He was concerned about the state of the flock. And that's us in these times. We're concerned about the state of the flock. We're trying to steal the elect to get out of here. But in order to do that, us as the watchmen, we have to be on that watch. We have to call to the people. And the state of the people is so dismal right now. It's very concerning. Okay, verse 8, it says, "Her temple has become as a man without glory. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets. Her young men with the sword of the enemy." So if you're not familiar with what's going on in these times, okay, Israel is a state under the hand of Antiochus Epiphanes. Okay, so we're basically in captivity. In a captivity without being in captivity. We weren't slaves like we were in this side, but we were an occupied state. Alright, we were under the rule of another nation. Then there goes in verse 10, it says, "What nation have not gotten a part of her kingdom and gotten of her spoils?" Because we've been spoiled by every nation. And, like I said, Antiochus Epiphanes had us under his thumb at that time. It says, "All her ornaments are taken away of a free woman if she become a bond slave. And behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory is laid waste, and the Gentiles have profaned it. To what end thereof shall we live any longer?" It says, "Then Mattathias and his sons rent their clothes and put on sackcloth and mourned very sore." So they understood what they were supposed to feel, what was supposed to be going on, and what was actually going on, and their reaction to it was to mourn. Alright, this is a very sad time. You had soldiers killing kids, soldiers, killing people. They had brought down the walls of Jerusalem. They built their own fort, to house their soldiers in. It was a very scary and fucked up time. Similar to the time that we're going to come into. Verse 15, getting to the heart of the story. "And in the meanwhile, the king's officers such as compelled the people to revolt, came into the city of Modin to make them sacrifice. And when many of Israel came unto them, Mattathias also and his sons came together. Then answered the king's officer and said to Mattathias on his wise, Thou art a ruler, and an honorable and great man in the city, and strengthened with sons and brethren. Now therefore, come thou first, and fulfill the king's commandment, like as all the heathen have done, yea, and the men of Judah also, and such as remain in Jerusalem. So thou shalt, and thy house be in the number of the king's friends, and thou and thy children be honored with silver and gold and many rewards. So he's asking him basically to sell out. Hey, look, come sell out in front of everybody, and I'll give you some money. I'll make sure you have silver and gold and many rewards. And you had a lot of people that take that Judas person in these times, and you can tell by their actions. You can look at Mattathias' action that he's about to take and see that he's not a sellout. And you can look at the other people or the other person's actions that they took and tell how they sold out. It's the same in these times. You can look at what some of these people are preaching and be like, oh no, you can't be right. You had to sell out to say some things like that, or to deny, what the mark of the beast, or deny, the name of, Yahweh Shem Yahushai. These people took those many rewards. Okay, it says, verse 19, Then Mattathias answered and spoke with a loud voice, Though all nations that are under the king's dominion obey him, and fall away every one from the religion of their fathers, and give consent to his commandments, yet I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers. Most High forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances. We will not hearken to the king's words to go from our religion, either on the right hand or on the left. Alright, so he stood stiffly for Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And that is definitely the spirit that we need to be in these days, to stand stiff for the word. Because the enemy is going to come in like a flood, as the scripture says. There will be martyrs for Yahweh Shem Yahushai in these times. They will kill a certain segment of us. If you're watching this video, if you're doing these videos, if you are searching Hebrew Israelites or anything near it, trust and believe they know. You're part of their algorithm. You're part of their rundown team. They're coming for you. They're going to demonize you. So you have to be ready. You have to, first off, be in the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushai to understand this. And to move forward with this, with the right energy. In verse 23 it says, Now when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar which was in Modin, according to the king's commandment. Which thing when Mattathias saw, he was inflamed with zeal, and his reins trembled, neither could he forbear to show his anger according to judgment, wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar. And also the king's commissioner who compelled men to sacrifice, he killed at that time, and the altar he pulled down. He wasn't having it. He slew the traitor and the commissioner, the king's commissioner, and then he pulled down the altar. Now, I'm not telling you if you see a homosexual or if you see a 2/3 or Edomite to go up and slay him. I'm not telling you to do that. But spiritually, that's the mindset you should be in. Because right now, things are spiritual. But when they transfer into physical, you have to be ready. Mentally, spiritually. And the Most High will physically handle everything for you. The Most High will teach your hands to war. But only if you are spiritually ready for that, spiritually earned that reward. There's a couple more verses I want to get that's kind of scattered down. Verse 32, it says, they pursued after them a great number, and having overtaken them, they camped against them and made war against them on the Sabbath day. Fuck you. So, what's going on in this scenario? You know, as they were in the wilderness, you know, Mattathias, Judas, and his brethren, while they were in the wilderness, that's when the enemy came in like a flood and made war against them on the Sabbath, and they chose not to fight on the Sabbath, and they passed. Okay? They were murdered. And after that, you know, they said, well, if they come after us on the Sabbath from now on, we have to fight. But I want you to see that it said they pursued after them a great number, and having overtaken them, and they camped against them and made war against them on the Sabbath day. That's how it's going to be in these times. They're going to come against us. They're going to pursue after us in a great number. Now, whether we fled into the wilderness at that time or not, they're going to pursue us. That's why you have to unplug from this life. Even this phone, this device that I'm using to communicate with you right now, you have to unplug from it. Because this ain't nothing but a tracking device in that day. You have to be in one accord with Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. I can't stress the importance of this and how much you really need to understand what's really going on in these scenarios that the scriptures are trying to tell you. Okay, I'm going to read this last verse and end it on that. This is verse 50. It says, now therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the law, and to give your lives for the covenant of your fathers. We need to be in that same zealous spirit. For what? For the law. And if need be, to give your life for the covenant of our fathers. For Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's sake. Matter of fact, I'm going to get verse 64 says, wherefore ye my sons, be valiant, and show yourselves men on behalf of the law, for by it ye shall obtain glory. And that's the whole point. We're going to have to be valiant men, and we're going to have to stand stiffly for the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and show ourselves men. And if we do this, glory is just going to come with it. With that being said, I hope you were edified and you understand the spirit that you need to be in. And with that, we give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Bashim Rakar Kadash, the bonders of the apostles and the elders of GMS. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in truth and sincerity, in the women and the children who follow. Shalom.